listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Empire Girls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Empire Girls After Show.
Woo! We are back. We have missed you guys so much. Being it's for doing, and tonight we are doing a recap show of Empire Girls. I'm Ashley Gray, and joined with me is my amazing co-host.
Hi, I'm Bamm Ericsen.
Bamm Ericsen. Oh my goodness, it seems like we have not been here in forever.
Right?
Finally, we got a new show from Empire Girls, and tonight it was bananas. Such a fun show. We got, Jalisa on her road to having her own talk show, and we have baby crazy Adrienne, and we also see them as motivational speakers in tonight's episode. So let's start off by talking about Julissa and uno, dos, tres.
Yes. So she got a call from Jesse Terrell, who's a very popular film director, particularly in the Latino community. And so he gives her a call and says that he wants to work with her to see if they could do something together, since Google and YouTube have put something together. They've joined forces to do like online TV, and so he wants Jalisa to now basically go and do a reel of doing some different things, just kind of like a lifestyle segment of her going to like the different places. And so she got a crew, she went ahead and she did that. And what do you think?
Yeah, I think she did a really great job. In this episode, Julissa was really saying, online programming is the future to, broadcasting. Exactly, AFTERBUZZ TV. Hello. So she was saying that this would be an amazing opportunity for her to, this can maybe land her own talk show. She's Oprah crazy. Oprah. I think she said Oprah's name probably like 10 times this episode.
And she's mentioned Oprah before.
Yes. Yeah. So she wants to be the new Latina Oprah. She really loves Oprah. Anyway. So she really, really wanted this opportunity. And so what they did is they said, I want to do a test shot. So what I'm going to have you do is go out and interview this owner whose name is Derek of Tega, which is a really great up-and-coming restaurant in New York, and interview him. She had to come up with her own interview questions. She was not able to read off of a teleprompter, so everything was just her.
Right, which she's used to doing because of her background with a TV host, and particularly with 106 in Park. It's, you read a teleprompter.
Yeah.
And so that was her comfortable. She was comfortable doing that, so she kind of had to go outside of her element. And so the first couple of times when she was outside doing her introduction, she really bombed.
She did.
Yeah, she really bombed.
She did, yeah.
But something that I noticed with her is it always takes her a couple of takes before she kind of gets her mojo going. And it's really interesting because, with us also being hosts, you don't really get the opportunity to have 2, 3, 4, 5 chances before you get it right. Like if you don't get it right on that first time, you're gone.
Done.
Yeah, done, completely.
Done, Benito.
And so she's pretty lucky to be in the position where she is, to where she can, but I'm kind of, are you surprised that someone of her caliber, in which the work that she's done, that she will still need to get a couple takes before she kind of gets it? I mean, this happened with Telemundo. I didn't say that right, but
Telemundo.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the Latin Billboard Awards.
Well, actually, I wasn't surprised at all. From what I've seen from her footage, she's not amazing, but there's a road to that, you know? So even though she's not great now, she has potential, and I've always said that about her. And, you know, she mentioned in this episode that she got her big break when she had went to college for, you know, a semester, and then she stopped going because she was offered a really great opportunity, I believe, on Moon Dose. So she never really had that professional training that, you know, some other broadcasters have had. So even though she's been in the game for a long time, what were you ever professionally trained? So I mean, some people have it naturally. They can just be like, oh, you know, whatever. I don't think she does. I think she has a great personality, but it takes more than just a great personality to be an amazing host. You know what I mean? So I was not surprised, to answer your question.
Okay. And so once she got it, then I thought she was okay. I thought she was pretty good.
I think that she was really great. I think that she could have interacted more with the owner a little bit. She kind of was a little stiff. Maybe walked around the kitchen, picked up some things, you know, I don't know.
But then also, I think that rehearsing with your friends, because you remember they were all at the house.
Yeah.
Jalisa, Adrienne, and Ashley, they were all at the house, and she wanted their help when she was going to do the research for the restaurant, you know, to help her ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why? Why not?
Because you get sidetracked when you're with your friends. And so there was other conversations that was going on, and I just think that, and you know, they're joking about some of the menu titles, which some of them were like, what was it? It was tuna on crack.
Tuna on crack.
Yeah.
Yes. And Derek, who is the owner of Tega, he said that we named it Tuna on Crack because it's just so addicting and it's really great. And yeah, crack is whack. Crack is whack, guys. Crack is whack.
I was gonna say I make too much money to buy crack. Crack is whack. But
We love you, Whitney. There we go.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a good idea. To work with your friends, because you can get sidetracked, and you know, they went over the menu, but from what we saw from that particular clip, I just don't think that you should have your friends help you because you get sidetracked.
Yeah, I think that her focus could have been a lot more on point. Just like with Moon Dose, when she was like, you know, she decided to go out on a date instead of actually doing her research and sitting down and like just being like, you know, I'm about to do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna take care of my business. And then in this one, she decided to do her research with her friends, which, you know, it's not the worst idea ever, but it kind of hindered her a little bit, I think.
So did you think when she had the interview with the guy, do you think that you don't think it was that great?
I mean, it was fun. I think it could have been a lot better, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, you know.
And then once she had this segment with the owner, then they went and actually tasted some of the food. Okay, so do you think that she was eating too much, or because she was worried about, you know, she was doing more eating than actually having conversation with the owner, like as far as, you know, I don't know, maybe like when she was tasting some of the tacos, you know, let's talk about some of the ingredients. What do you have in the ingredients, and what makes this taco, you know, so great? And then take a bite. Oh, okay, you know, this is good. And then after you take a bite, then go to the next one.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that we didn't see, and I'm pretty sure she did that. I thought it was fun. It was cute. She showed a lot of her personality. You know, in the Latino community, they love to eat. So
I love to eat.
In the black community too, you know, we love to eat. Come on. Everybody love, well, not everybody. Anyway, I thought, you know, she was being very personable.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think she did fine. Although she was eating a lot of food, I probably would have did the same thing. So
it was good.
Yeah,
it looked good.
It looked good, and it goes with her personality. She loves to eat. So when they see other future segments where she's in restaurants, they know that she's gonna actually eat the food and not be kind of cute and, you know, like kind of
exactly.
So
and it was a lifestyle piece. Yeah. So, you know, you want to really show the viewers like, this is really great. Come out to this restaurant. I'm really enjoying this food. It's not like I'm gonna take a bite and be like, that was good. She was like, oh yeah, let me take another bite and another one. So, and then the owner was very impressed. He sat there and he was like, oh wow, I really enjoy you digging into this food.
Did you think there was a love connection?
Not a love connection, but a lust connection.
A lust, yeah.
When she was researching with her homegirls, okay, well, let me look at the menu. She was like, oh, here's the owner. I got to wear my special bra for the interview. all girls know what the special bra is. It's like it gives you that extra umph. Thank you, Victoria.
I was gonna say, can you explain that? But you
It
did.
gives you the extra umph, make the girls look extra nice and, plump.
And so you wear that when you need to get some attention or make sure.
Not necessarily get some attention, but, sometimes you want to wear your special bra.
Gotcha.
Only girls understand, Bamm. I understand that you're confused right now. It's okay.
I'm just wanted to get further clarification for the millions of guys that are watching and then listening to you and wonder like, okay.
Well, Jalisa, your bra did wonders. You looked amazing. So, and I can tell that, there's a little bit of chemistry there, kind of a little bit of flirting, but, I don't know. But speaking of great news, Jalisa landed the position.
Yeah, so she met back with Jessie Terrell and the assistant, and the assistant name was I want to say Johanna, was it?
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay, well, the assistants are the two men, and they all saw the video with Julissa together,
Yeah.
and so. At first, you kind of wonder like their expressions because executives and people like they don't really give
Stone face.
Yeah, they're very stone faced, and so they're just kind of looking, and then they kind of raise the eyebrow. They don't really say much.
Well, shall we tell her the good news?
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, so we should. So basically, what happened is they offered her to do an online talk show pilot. So congratulations, Julissa.
Congratulations are in order for Jalisa, and it's just a pilot, but
And so, just to explain what a pilot is an episode where you present the episode and to the executives or to YouTube or whoever, and then if they like it enough, then they'll order additional episodes. So just like with all the TV shows that would be like that will be doing in the fall, there's a lot of new shows. So the very first episode that you see is the actual pilot.
Yes.
And then once the pilot is taken to the networks, then it gets picked up, and then they do a couple episodes, and they just it's a trickling effect. So that's what a pilot is.
Yes. And speaking of great online programming, all of our viewers, all of our listeners, go to iTunes, rate, comment, and share. We love, love, love hearing feedback from all of you wonderful fans of Empire Girls and AfterBuzz TV. So go and rate, comment, and share, and leave us feedback. If you want us to talk about certain things next week, let us know, and we'll definitely fit that in to our conversation.
And let's not also forget about the new great app, the podcast. And what the podcast does is it organizes all of your subscriptions. So if you have Empire Girls, Glass House, Scandal, Raw, whatever, all the various things that we have here on AfterBuzz TV,
Yes.
it will organize all of your subscriptions for you. So podcast, download that app. Please rate and comment.
And tell a friend. Let everybody know about us because
Yes.
we're so amazing and you love us and we love you. So tell a friend, rate, comment, and share iTunes, please.
All right.
Let's talk about Adrienne. She was a little baby crazy this episode. Actually, a lot of baby crazy.
So what happens is they open up with the episode opens up with them in a store where it has baby stuff, and so she's like, okay, I want to have two boys. She wants to have two boys, and she wants to have one girl.
One girl.
But yet she wants the girl to be the princess, but also being that she has a sister, she doesn't want her sister to be left out. And so Jalissa was like, well, I never had a sister, and she was like, and that's why you're selfish.
Yeah.
And that's
And
why
doesn't
you,
like to
and
share.
that's why you don't like to share, because you
Yeah.
don't have a sister. But they laughed about that, and then they moved forward. And so Adrienne wants to freeze her eggs.
She does.
Yeah.
How do you feel about freezing? Does that come off to you as psycho, freaky,
No,
weird?
No, not to me.
Okay.
And that's because I watch, a bunch of talk shows, and I hear women and things talk about it. And you freeze your eggs. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, So there's a lot of women who have problems, being pregnant. So freeze those eggs while they're young.
Before we get into that conversation of freezing eggs, they were, what you were talking about, Bamm, when they were shopping, they were actually shopping for Jet, which is Adrienne's baby niece, who she's the godmom to. They were shopping for her something because she was having a baby dedication, which is a christening.
Yeah.
And it's very huge in the Christian religion, and they basically just, make a commitment to raise the child in the ways of God. And so she was shopping to give her little god baby a little something for that. And so how do you feel about, it wasn't too over the top, which I was expecting because of the baby shower. It was great. And it was really cute because the baby Jet, she wore her mama's christening gown that, she wore when she was getting christened. So that just got the wheels rolling with Adrienne with the baby mania.
I thought that I was expecting the baby dedication, or as Christians call it, the baby christening. I was expecting it to be in a church.
I was like, are they in somebody's backyard?
They're in Adrienne's mom's and her parents' backyard.
Yeah.
Had the little tents. And so I was a little confused about that because
I never saw that happen.
I've never seen that happen too, especially where we've actually seen scenes of them actually in the church.
Yeah.
And so that was confusing. Or different, I should say. That was different. And then the minister was their cousin, who he's a spiritual coach.
Oh, was he a minister or was he just a spiritual coach?
It says that, Uncle Rich, he's a family spiritual coach. What does that mean? To me, that sounds like a way of saying that he's religious and he's calling himself this whole coach thing. I don't really get. Yeah. I just don't understand. They have a minister in the church. They have the pastor. Why couldn't a man of the cloth christen and pray for the baby? Being that the mom is like diehard Catholics.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Maybe
I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying I didn't particularly understand why did they have to have the Uncle Rich, who's a family. I'm not even gonna go there with that, but that just does not.
Maybe he's like the mediator. So if there's a problem in the family with your faith, you go to Uncle Rich because Uncle Rich is gonna set you on the right track. He's gonna
or you can go to your pastor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Religion is such a hot topic. Yeah. I'm like, hey, I don't know.
I'll leave it alone. But I thought it was weird that the christening or the baby dedication was in the backyard at the mom's house. Then they had a family spiritual coach.
Yeah. Maybe they wanted it in the backyard because they wanted something very intimate. And, they didn't want the cameras. They didn't want to disrespect the church by having the cameras in the church, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Or, because remember in previous episodes, we saw them in the church with the cameras. What if, the pastor or the reverend who's over the church was like, I really don't want this in the church anymore. And her mom didn't want to have the christening at another church, so they just had it in the backyard.
I mean, there could be a plethora of reasons.
I'm very optimistic.
Yeah. Could be a plethora of reasons, but, that's just how I saw it. But it was a great christening.
Yeah.
The baby was asleep.
She was knocked out.
Was knocked out. But, I thought it was.
The Lord touched her anyway. The Lord touched her anyway.
Amen.
Amen. So and I thought it was really cute because in this episode, this was Adrienne's first time babysitting the little one, and she was freaking out. Speaking of that scene,
but wait, before you go there, let's break it down just a little bit. So, the sister Claudette said that she needed a break, which our moms do, which was really interesting because the baby was 2 months.
Yes.
When the show first started, the baby was born, so that just tells you how long that they've been actually shooting. Mm-hmm. And so it's been at least 2 months that they were shooting, and they still have a couple more episodes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so anyway. She's tired. She needs a rest, as most moms does. It's very tiring on the body, and it's just tiring. And I know people can relate to that, particularly women and mothers. And so she wanted to just kind of get away. And at first she asked if Adrienne could spend the night, and Adrienne was like, "Okay, sure, she can spend the night."
Yeah.
Now Claudette was a little hesitant, but she was like, I need a break. Just please, just take her. Just I need a break.
Yeah.
And so what happens when she gets to the house, there's all these instructions, and I noticed that Claudette and her husband, they were dressed up very nicely, and they said that they were going to run a couple errands, and that they would go eat dinner afterwards.
Yeah.
And then she gave instructions about the milk is the breast milk, and how to warm it and make sure that it's room temperature and do all those things. And like if the baby are doing certain things, that means that the baby is hungry, the little baby's hungry. Or if it's doing other things, all you have to do is just kind of pick it and just kind of do little things that people who have maternal instincts or people who babysit would know those kind of things. And so the baby leaves, and that child cried and cried and cried and cried and cried.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Adrienne freaked out a little bit and was unsure what to do. And of course, you know, she didn't want to leave the baby sitting there, although the baby was safe. It wasn't going to fall. The baby was safe, but then she had to try and go warm the milk up. And so what she did was she called her cousin. What's the cousin's name? The cousin's name was George.
George? Yeah. Okay.
So she called George. Now, at the time that she called George, she had just got the bottle. And so the baby, and the baby was drinking the breast milk. So George now pops up at the house. He says, "Okay, I'll be on my way." The milk that the baby was drinking was still a lot of milk in his bottle. Then after that, George comes over and helps her out and just keeps her calm. And then Claudette and her husband comes back, and yet the bottle
It's still full.
it was
A little bit gone,
it
maybe.
it was on its way out. But babies don't drink that. How many bottles did the baby drink? How many bottles of milk did the baby drink? And I'm assuming that being that the baby's 2 months, the baby couldn't have eaten or drank a plethora of bottles. So basically we say all that to say I think the scene was set up.
And I was going like, look, I think the scene was set up. The baby did, I think that I saw 2 bottles sitting on the counter. And I mean, of course she's at home, so there could have been a lot more bottles than what we saw. But, she called George, and George was like there in 2 seconds. Then here comes Claudette and Claudette's husband, and they're there like, 5 seconds later. I think it was set up.
Yeah.
But whatever. It is what it is.
But at
we
least-
got to
yeah.
see Adrienne.
And she got to, be mommy or pretend that, And one of the real funny things was she said, "Come on, let's play a game. Let's go look in the mirror and see how I will look as a mom." I was like, okay.
Yeah. And even when the baby started crying, she was like, "Shh, let's look. Let's see. Let's see what I look like." I'm like, oh my gosh, Adrienne, she's a little cray.
And so this experience changed her perception in wanting to become a mother. That, and when she went to go see Dr. Drew, who's not the Dr. Drew that we're familiar with, but another Dr. Drew, she went to speak to him about freezing her eggs. And so he kind of enlightened her about a lot of things.
Yeah.
She would need to inject herself. She'll have to she'll be on some hormonal things. And what do you think about?
It's just too much. I think that for women that need to do that, for whatever reasons, I definitely support it. It's not something that I'm against. But just like with Adrienne's final decision, she says she wants to do this naturally. I'm going to give it to God and let God have his way. That's my take. It's like, let go, let flow, girl. You don't have to inject yourself and do all this crazy stuff. You haven't, she wants to be married before she has kids. That's why she wanted to save her eggs.
Now, do you think that, they say when you're 25, that's kind of like the peak in which, that's the peak when, you can really, get a lot of eggs. And do you think that she felt pressure, or what's your take on freezing her eggs, and particularly so young?
Well, I know that she wanted to have everything together by the age of 30.
And she's 28.
She's 28, so she has 2 years, and she's like freaking out inside, and she knows that she wants to have a family. This is something that she's always known, and so time is just ticking, and she's like, man, I don't see no man around the corner, so what am I gonna do? Let me freeze these eggs so that I'll have them when he does come along. And so she's like, okay, well, maybe it won't happen at 30, maybe 35, maybe 40, and she's okay with that.
Yeah, so she's come to the conclusion now that, things doesn't have to go as planned. She's going to just let go, let God. And so if she doesn't have kids by the time she's 30, then it could be 35 or 40. But she realized those 2 things was a wake-up call, was having to babysit her god niece, and to have the conversation with Dr. Drew in regards to that process in which you have to take in order to freeze your eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think she has natural maternal instincts? How do you think she did when she was babysitting baby Jet?
I think she did okay. But it appears that she doesn't seem like she's ready, especially with you have an album, you have your nail polish line. There's so many things that you want to do, and I'm not saying that that's not possible, because there are gazillions of women who can multitask. But she just seemed like she's a little too focused on herself, and that's not a bad thing. To where, will she be able to? Because when you have kids, you have to put aside the things that you have to do.
Exactly.
For the sake of your child. And plus, she doesn't have a boyfriend. She's not in a relationship. So, I don't think it's going to kill her to wait.
She need to wait. Let go, let God, let go, let the Lord. That's all I got to say about that. I could not freeze my eggs and be sticking myself in the stomach like, oh, no, I can't do it. It's just like too much. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's how she feels. So kudos to her for, it's a thought. It's the thought that counts. She's thinking about her future, which that's good.
Yeah, but at least she, took the steps and process to see what it takes and,
Yeah. She did good. Her decision, I think I stand by her final decision. It's just to wait for that man to do it naturally.
Right. And also, who's to say that when she gets into a relationship in a couple years, she may be able to have kids with ease. So.
Exactly. So let's talk about Adrienne and Julissa's passion project.
Yes.
They want to be so involved in the community, but they just didn't know how to be involved in the community. They didn't know who to connect with, who to talk to. So they finally, it was the Latin Arts Foundation. They reached out to them and they gave them this amazing opportunity, one, to do a PSA highlighting performing arts, and to go and speak with a group of students at Washington Heights and to talk to them, motivate them about all of the things that they can get out of performing arts. And, just to be that encouraging, motivational celebrity that they're all, they see them on TV, and to come to the school and talk to them one-on-one, face-to-face, it's really amazing. So,
I'm sorry. Can we go back to the freezer next thing?
Oh, Lord, Bamm, you want to talk about these eggs again?
You remember Jalisa asked, will the eggs be free? Will the eggs be kept into the freezer in the house? I was like, did you hear when she said that?
Yeah. She was like, girl, if you're drunk one night, you might accidentally scramble those eggs. I think that's Julissa humor. Bamm. You guys can't see Bamm's face, but he looks like just this.
I mean, sometimes she does come off. I thought she was serious, because sometimes she does come off as
a little slow.
Yeah.
Kind of. A little bit.
But okay, continuing with their charity work. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of her being a little slow, they said that they want to be motivational speakers, but because, Adrienne, she didn't really finish. She finished high school, but she was like in and out, not really, a high school student. And Julissa, she dropped out of college after one semester. So they're like, how am I going to go and talk to these kids? Like, we don't want to give them the wrong, idea. Like, oh, you don't need college to be successful. You don't need to, stay in high school. Yeah,
when they were going over their speech, they were just nervous because, Jalisa only went to college for a semester.
Yeah.
Adrienne was in that school, and she said, she's really worried about her lack of education. So they were not sure how it would be perceived.
Yeah. And I totally agree. But when I saw them there, they did an amazing job. And I know that they were freaking out because they thought that it was only going to be 15 students, like a classroom that they were going to talk to, which I felt like they should have researched that a little bit before. Like, they should have had that information in their head.
I think they should have asked, so who are we speaking in front of? They should have asked those questions. And then, of course, they find out that it's going to be 220 people, and they freak out a little bit. But, they rose to the occasion.
Yeah. And the kids accepted them really well. I felt the energy on the screen. It was cute. Kids was all going crazy or whatever. And
they were asking questions. They were asking questions about the whole hosting thing, and they were asking Adrienne. I forgot what they asked her, but they were just regular questions that the kids particularly want to know about.
Yeah.
And so they answered them genuinely. And so I thought it was cool. I don't think there was anything that they should have that they should have been worried about.
One thing that I'm like, how do these kids know them? Like, okay, Jalisa from 106 in Park, but the kids are kind of young to be watching 106 in Park, but nowadays.
Well, that was another thing because when she did 106 in Park, those little kids would
We're
not
like
have,
5.
Yeah, those kids would have not been old enough to see 106 in Park at that particular time.
Yeah.
So I was confused about that as well as the Cheetah Girls. Those kids would be too young to remember
Yeah.
who she is in regards to Cheetah Girls.
Bring It On. Bring It On. Adrienne was starred. Well, she didn't star in it, but she was on Bring It On again, I think.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think she was though. But even with that was a while ago. So how do they really connect with Adrienne and Julissa at their young age? It was kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, I was a little confused with that, but at the same time, you know, kids, they're a lot smarter and they know a lot more people than you would think they would know. So, you know, I don't know, maybe they do. But for me, you know, Jalisa said something that really hit. She spoke about how when she was kids, when people would go and do the motivational speaker, they weren't really paying attention.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wondered the same thing. Like, you know, are the kids, are they just there because, you know, you mentioned, hey, this girl was on 106 in Park. Hey, this girl was on Disney, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't know, like, I felt the same way. When people would get up and speak, I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and I saw some kids like looking around and not really paying attention when they were talking. And I think that for a age group that young, that you need to get up and interact. Maybe they could have been sitting a little bit closer, or you know, just something, had some type of activity for them, because you know, kids do get tired and bored. And they don't want to really hear what you have to say. But some of the questions were really, really great. Do you think that they were told to ask those particular questions? Like from their like teachers or?
I mean, probably. I remember for myself, I was at an event where there was some celebrities there, and they gave me they picked me to ask questions.
Exactly.
And I had to say that I was from a specific city, and there was a specific question I had to ask.
Exactly.
So I remember I had to say that I was from South Bend, Indiana. And so, you know.
Yeah, that's how I was like, there's been many times where I've been like chosen to, okay, I want you to say this and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, the kids didn't really seem that interested. You know, I really love the fact that they want to give back to the community, but I just didn't understand how they really made that the kids can really connect with them. They really don't, like maybe Miley Cyrus, if she would have came, then, you know.
Yeah.
And then like the kids, when they came in, they weren't like jumping up and down. They were just like woo, not like, you know, if Miley Cyrus was supposed to walk in, because I mean, of course, she's more relatable.
She's more
I
relatable
think.
to the kids. Yeah, I agree.
But whatevs. Or Selena Gomez. She's
Yeah.
very, because I know they wanted a Latino.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't whatever. But back to Julissa and Adrienne and their giving back. They also did a PSA, and what I loved about the PSA is that they had to stand side by side. So of course, Adrienne's like 5'1", and so they put like this box next to Jalisa so they can be the same size. But Adrienne was actually a little taller than Jalisa, and Jalisa was like, this is not believable. So they made her take off her shoes.
Yeah, and so I thought that was cute.
Yeah. And what was that PSA for?
The PSA was for, it was the same thing, for the same thing, but it was, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Bam, I thought you were going to say something so important. Like, you looked like you had it, and you were just like, you know what, whatever. I don't remember.
No, I couldn't remember because, yeah, sorry.
I think it was, yeah, I get what you're saying. It was about raising awareness about the importance of performing arts and how, you know, pertinent it is to a lot of people who are very, like, hyperactive, and they want to exert that energy into something that they really love. And a lot of schools, they're taking the performance arts out. So
They're taking everything out, which is, you know, unfortunate that they're doing that. So
that was a look out for that PSA, Julissa and Adrienne. It's a really great message. So awesome. So let's go to our prediction. Wait, I have a question. So do you think that the style of these two, well, mainly Adrienne, because you know she was our little off throughout this season. Do you think she upgraded a little bit since, you know, the episode 1?
Well, I think sometimes she's more appropriately dressed. I thought when they were at the meeting for the PSA, I thought they both looked really nice for the PSA. I thought they looked nice for when they went to speak to the kids. Although I think Jalisa probably should have wore pants just because
She was sitting down.
she was sitting down, and as a little boy, I would have been trying to look through her. I'm just saying. You know, no matter how much you cross or do something, and we're sitting down at ground level, little boys are looking. So she probably should have wore pants or found out, will we be speaking? Will the kids be? She'd have just found out a little bit more as far as the situation. But no, I thought she looked great, and then I also thought Adrienne looked really well when she was at the baby dedication. So
I think her style has upgraded a lot. And when they were in Central Park, I just want to point out Ashley's outfit. It was really, really cute.
what was she wearing?
She was wearing a really cute blazer, skinnies, and just like a beater underneath or a cami. But it was really, really cute. The colors were really fun, fresh, very subtle. It wasn't like a really bright, red or yellow. They were very soft pastel. So I really loved it. And then Adrienne's glasses in Central Park were the bomb. The bomb. I was like, ooh, girl, let me borrow. Those are really cute.
I still think the makeup is a little too much.
A little too much, yes. I think so. But, you live and you learn.
But I don't know. Maybe if it's on high def, maybe that's a difference.
Yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't look so. I mean, it's like. It's
Damn, you are cracking me up. Boy, it's like.
It's caked on. It's just like.
Oh yeah. So do you think that, I know that we tapped on this a little bit, but do you think Julissa is a great host? Yay or nay? Just opinion, it's an opinion show. We can have an opinion. What do you think, Bam?
Sometimes.
I would agree.
But see, I don't really like answering that question, and I hate that you put me on the spot because people would be watching and was like, "Oh, so you don't think she's a good host? So you suck. So it's just kind of one of those things I don't really like to downplay my peers. So damn, I wish I could retract that statement.
I think that she has an amazing, really, really great potential. And as she said, Oprah is someone that she really looks up to. And we all start somewhere, and we don't start off as amazing. So
let me just go back. Let me fix it up a little bit. I think she has great personality. You definitely know who she is when she's corresponding, when she's interacting with people, and that's what it's all about when you're a personality, a TV host. It's all about being relatable, which she's very relatable. She has a great personality.
Yes.
It's I just kind of made that comment because sometimes it takes her a while, and in this game, a lot of times you don't have that opportunity to rewind the tape and say go back.
Exactly. So let's talk about predictions for next week. Where's our sound effects? There we go.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Next week, boys, we got Joe.
Oh, you're gonna like that one.
Yes, and Joe looks like I only saw the back of his head and his temple, but he looked cute.
No, you saw Joe because he stood up when they were at the table and they stood up. So Joe is.
I know, but I had my head down.
Oh,
so I didn't get to see him.
Shame on you. Well, I saw him. So what? Who cares? He's just a dude. So Joe is a guy. Joe's a guy who Jalisa has known since she was a kid, and he's, I don't know, Italian maybe.
I don't know, but he's cute.
And so he was like, "Oh, it's really good to see you." And then we see a clip of them kissing.
He was hitting her up on Twitter.
Yes.
And it seems like he was someone who maybe is an ex-boyfriend or an ex-fling or someone that she was very, intimate with or had a relationship with.
I've hit Julissa up on Twitter. She hasn't responded back to me. Maybe I should take my shirt off or flash my guns. Maybe she'll respond.
Yes, do that. And then let us know next week if she responds to you or not.
I'm broke. She's not checking for me.
So there's new boys. Adrienne, we saw, this dude trying to spit some mad game at Adrienne. Like, what's up, ma? You don't need to be alone. So we're going to have to find out who he is.
I think he's your type. That dude,
him?
That guy?
No.
Oh.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, because he had muscles, so I thought, maybe.
No, he's not. And then Layla, we see her next week, too. And she was talking about being horny. She was like, do you ever get horny? And yeah, that was a bad. Wait, what is she? Australian or British?
I don't know.
Bam, you need to work with me, okay? I don't. Okay, so.
Well, I'll lie. She's British.
Okay, British.
Okay.
Whatever. Okay, so she was talking about that. So we'll see where that came from because, yeah, that just seems interesting.
But what looks like is going to be fun is the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So
Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Adrienne has always wanted to be a part of the parade, and so she talks to her girl Angie Martinez, who's like the queen of New York when it comes to radio. And so she's like, "Hey, I can make that happen." And so we see a clip of Adrienne on the mic. Now, do you predict she's going to sing, or do you predict that she's going to just speak?
Just speak. She's not gonna sing. How can you sing at a Puerto Rican Day Parade? Everyone's like going crazy. It's like a parade.
I don't know. Maybe there's performances or something, because
Oh, I don't know.
I think Little Kim performed at this year's Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Oh.
I remember seeing pictures and I saw Evelyn. So, I mean, who knows from the
I don't think she's gonna sing. I think that would have been something that they highlighted. So,
Okay.
I don't think.
Well, I'm hoping she sings just because I think it'll be cool for her,
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in with us, and hopefully you hit us up on iTunes, rate, comment, and share. Give us your feedback and tell a friend. I am Ashley Gray, and you can always follow me on Twitter at TweetNinaMarie, TweetNinaMarie.
And I'm Bamm Ericsen. You can follow me also on Twitter, Bamm Ericsen. That's BAMMERICSEN.
Let's keep this conversation going. Hit us up on Twitter, and we will reply, and we will see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. We are late.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.